Hello, brothers and sisters and Heartdwellers family. It's been a rough week. I felt dry in prayer and very disconnected from the Lord. I've been living off rhemas and honestly been so busy with responsibilities here and feeling really down about it all. I've had 2 corrections to the rhemas. One where the Lord told me to repent because I was offended at him. I didn't even realize it. But I found myself complaining about all the responsibilities and frustrations I was having, trying to juggle ministry, married life, taking care of the home, and taking care of a soul. So I repented and asked the Lord to please forgive me as I continue to get rhemas on trust and hope daily. However, I wasn't able to connect with him. I thought first maybe I was being lazy and not putting much effort because on several occasions I had to abandon myself to the sacrament of the moment and leave prayer or cut it short because I was called. And I realized I resented it. That is why I had to repent. Then when I began to get rhemas about spiritual warfare to bind and loose, I thought, okay, maybe this is the enemy stopping me from hearing the Lord's voice. I just couldn't put my finger on it. As days went by, then I decided to pull a rhema message from Mother Claire's website, Heartdwellers, because I was desperate to hear something. And what do you know, I pulled the message with the title, When the Lord is Painfully Silent. As I thought to myself, okay then, it's not me. Jesus is being silent on purpose. It was a relief as thoughts of guilt and condemnation left me, and when I read the message, it gave me great courage and hope. I felt I wasn't the only one experiencing dryness or even the Lord withdrawing his presence. And this message would be a blessing to someone on the channel, so I wanted to repost it and re-record it again for you guys to hear. Please lift me up in prayer that I can be patient in the waiting, and also discerning when the Lord desires to speak to me again, that I'll be ready and available to listen. Please pray that for me, guys, because I really want to hear from Jesus. I need to hear from him, not just for your sake, but for mine as well. It really gets me to appreciate this grace I've taken for granted for so long. God bless you, family, until the next message. Here's Jesus' message to Mother Claire, When the Lord is Painfully Silent. The sweet peace of Jesus be with you all, Heartdwellers. Well, I just put up that asteroid video again, and I want to share with you something about my experience this week, as the Lord has a message that's pretty interesting, actually. I've been struggling with doubts and discernment lately. You might say, what's new about that? Well, it has been much more intense, and the Lord has been distant. This is by far the most painful of trials, and I know some of you are suffering the very same things. Thank God for Ezekiel, who recognized my state, and for my prayer warriors, and all of you who have held me up in this trial of dryness. So when I came into prayer today, I was in worship for several hours. I finally just had to seek a word from the Lord and hear his voice. So I said, Lord, please don't leave me without anything to share. Lord, please have mercy on my soul. He answered me, do you know how much good I'm doing with this sacrifice? I can only imagine. Much good. Very good. Right now there are people on your channel that do not know me or my voice. And now they know both. And they know that I am with them, and I'll never forsake them. I would say that is very much good, wouldn't you? Yes, Jesus. He lifted my chin. Claire, I know how much this hurts you, as it hurts me. But all my saints had to pass through this gate of a knowing and sheer faith, that I might shower the graces on the weak and lonely. See? Right now you know I'm talking with you. Doesn't that give you some measure of comfort, my love? Our eyes met, and his were twinkling with compassion. And below us I see demons looking very much like filthy crocodiles with eyes on me and snarling. Yes, that is a demon of false accusation and condemnation, standing by and waiting to attack you and take you under. Roll you in his mire and stick you under a ledge until you're good and rotten. That is what he does. Looks for souls that are either under correction or being sacrificed for the sake of others, as you are now. Yes, he waits for the right opportunity and then strikes, leaving the bitter poison of isolation and condemnation. But you have been this way many times before, and you know how to handle him, don't you? Yes, Lord. Ignore his slimy lies, renounce him, and actively trust that you are using this trial for the kingdom. That's always what I end up doing. Very good, he answered. That's exactly the answer I was hoping you would give me. So I'd tell my brides that you too will be tested in this manner. Do not suppose for one moment that I have abandoned you, because I have not, and I will not. You are dying to yourself and giving life to others, like the seed that falls to the ground. The consolation meant for you as you reach out and seek me in worship and you long for me, those consolations are being passed on to the truly desperate and needy. In this moment in the world, there are many such as these. There are those who are breathing their last under the rubble of earthquakes. They have never known me, but I'm visiting them because of your offering and your prayers. You see, when you entrust me with all that is yours, your everything, I dispense grace and mercy where I will, but so much is handed over to me in the gift of your life. You have said, Jesus, anything for you. And I have said, I will have you with me in paradise someday. But for now, I need your sacrifices. I need your consolation. I need your physical infirmities. Yes, even those. They are your cross, your Simon's cross. You say to me, but you did save us, once and for all, and you speak the truth. But now someone must pray that this gift of salvation is delivered to the poorest of poor, the dying, the lame, the sick, and the drug addict, the victim of tragedy, all who are languishing without knowing me and without any hope. True, I have visited some of them many times in their lives before, but they were not ready. Now they are ready. And those who have yet to know me because of your offering are now coming to know me and discovering the love and joy of their lives. With that discovery, they are happy to die to be with me, and another soul snatched from Satan. So this is not a punishment as you imagined. And here I just want to mention to you, how many of us think the Lord is punishing us when we can't see or feel Him? The devil's always standing by, the accuser of the brethren, to jump in on that and say, yep, you're guilty, you're worthless. And as an aside from what Mother Claire is saying, that is so true. That's exactly what I was going through this past week. Just taunts, thinking that I'm being punished, I'm already under correction, maybe I need to repent more, maybe the Lord is upset with me, I've done something, all of these things. She's so right. These worthless demons. Now back to the message. Anyway, going back to what the Lord was saying. So this is not a punishment as you imagine. You should know better, my Claire. You have been down this road before, many, many times. But I know your frame and I know your forgetfulness. And I know those who visit here are hungry for the truth. Yes, they long to know the meaning of suffering in their lives. They're under the impression that I'm a punishing and vindictive God, when we know that all suffering is from Satan, not me. What he meant for evil I turned to good, and I despoiled him of yet another soul. All of you dear dwellers in my heart, you know now that everything you experience I turn to good. Nothing, absolutely nothing escapes my notice. And how many times do I in fact hang on the cross of suffering with you? How many tears do I shed when you go through all these things and offer them to me with a grateful heart? Millions of times a day. I'm garnering gifts of love from my people to be shed upon the hearts of those who don't know me. Despite this sense of absence, know that I'm always with you, always comforting you and seeing to your needs, admonishing and dispensing graces to you. Yes, especially the graces to endure this dark world without the sweet touch of my consolation, that I might shower them on the desperate with no hope. So you see, my beloved, that crocodile continues to hiss at you and whisper his foul breath, you're not good, you're a failure. God has rejected you. He's withdrawn and deserted you and left you sweltering in your own mess. Oh, how far from the truth. You were going along so well, flourishing even, and I asked for a sacrifice, and your spirit gave consent. And here we are now, talking about it, because all of you need to be reminded of this dynamic, especially in this hour when sufferings are intensifying. I cut in and said, a lot of people have been posting fear that they have been abandoned. They won't be raptured, even imagining sins or weaknesses being sins. That's the spirit of condemnation. That's not the Lord. He continued here, and simply is not true that I have abandoned them, when in actuality, I have graciously accepted their loving sacrifice and showered those consolations on the ones who were perishing. How perfect is that? So I ask you all, are you in this moment suffering? Have you lost a loved one? Have you been misunderstood and lied about? Have you been beaten and left for dead? Have you loved and labored and poured out your gifts on others and been denounced? These are all thorns in my crown, my brides. It is being woven to the perfect headpiece for the one who resembles me, my true bride. All these evils have been allowed to prove your love, your forgiveness, and draw those detractors closer to me. You have only to see how they treated me, though I did nothing wrong, to understand why you are receiving insults and injury for the good that you're doing. How many times have I said it? The bride must resemble the groom. Indeed, you do resemble me in all these sufferings, but understand there's a purpose for it all. I waste nothing of my bride's loving gifts. I use them all, and someday you'll meet the fruits of your suffering on this earth, and there shall be great rejoicing in heaven. In the meantime, we're moving closer to the time when the clock will strike midnight. It shall be accomplished. So please let the sweetness of this message wash over you, and remove the sting of suffering, alienation, and hopelessness you have felt in the past. You have done a great work for me, in bearing under the trial and continue to worship and hope in me. I bless you now with the vision of heaven in my arms. You are my joy. And that was the end of Jesus' beautiful message to Mother Claire, now to me, and now to you. May you stay and be encouraged.